Thank you.
We now move on to the last item in our program, which is the BAPIO Wales Awards presentations.
Dear friends, it has been a tradition for us to recognize the people who have done above and beyond the call of their duty to make a difference in the life of the fellow citizens. Our award ceremony this year will be done virtually, unfortunately without the Indian dinner from Rotiwala. And the trophies have been already delivered to the awardees. This is the 5th year of awards, and we hope that you will join to congratulate all awardees. While we always recognize professional excellence awards, this year we are also going to recognize the people who have worked for equality and diversity. I will now invite our chair of BAPIO Wales, Dr. Professor Keshav Singhal.
Thank you, Hasmukh, and we're now at the fag end of our program, but the most exciting one as far as I'm concerned, where we actually in the old days would have given the awards and waited for the sumptuous dinner. Unfortunately, that's not to be this year. But the first award for professional excellence goes to a friend and colleague who has been absolutely instrumental in holding this day together. I don't think we could have done it without him. And to introduce him, I'd like to invite Dr. Latha Srinivasan, consultant anesthetist, introduce and provide his citation. Latha, over to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Keshav. Can you hear me all? Okay. I would like to start with the Professional Excellence Awards, which this year goes to Dr. Murali Varma, one of our very active executive members. Murali trained in India, US, and UK, gaining his board certification from US and FRCP pathology in 1999. Since then, he has been a consultant histopathologist at the University Hospital of Wales. He is one of the very few senior pathologists of Indian origin in the UK and has been honored by being selected as chair of the British Association of Urological Pathologists, among other national and international appointments. He is widely published with over 100 publications and in great demand for invited review and opinion pieces from reputed journals across the globe. He has been invited for guest lectures internationally and has provided expert advice, formulating various treatment protocols and data sets. Always humble, self-deprecating, and unassuming, he epitomizes the qualities we all cherish and would like to recognize. Congratulations, Dr. Varma.
Thank you. It's not often I'm lost for words. Thank you, Latha. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you, BAPIO, for this award, which is very special to me. Now, as a histopathologist, one of the crosses I have to bear is that it is assumed that I spend time in the mortuary, when actually I don't do any postmortems at all. And my work is entirely about trying to keep patients out of the mortuary. So I'm very grateful to actually to be recognized by my clinical colleagues with whom I work as a team to help patients with cancer. So thank you again. Thank you.
Now, I'd like to invite Dr. Chris Jones, CBE, the chairman of the Health Education and Improvement Wales, to present the second award for services to medical education and research. So, Dr. Jones.
Hey everybody, it's with great pleasure that I announce the award to Professor Pushpinder Mangat. Push, we all know him. It's a great privilege to be doing this as his chair. He's a great friend and a real colleague. Push came to the UK aged 2. He was educated in Birmingham, gaining his medical degree in 1978. He was a trailblazer when in 1984 he started ventilating critically ill medical patients on the medical wards in the absence of ITUs. And it was one of the first examples of that sort of intensiveness going on in Wales. Following completion of his training, he became the first Asian consultant to be appointed in Morriston Hospital as an intensive care anaesthetist. He was then Deputy Medical Director of Swansea between 2011 and 2018. And following that, we nabbed him and he became our Medical Director at Health Education Improvement Wales. In that role, he's been working to address inequalities, particularly with SAS doctors and of course with differential attainment. He's also supporting the Race Equality Action Plan for the Welsh Government. Can I say, this is such a well-deserved award. I really thank BAPIO for this opportunity. Congratulations, Push. Have you got it there?
I have. Thank you very. You can't see it because of my background that I've got on, but I've got it's similar to one that we just saw in the previous presentation. So I'd just like to say it's really, really humbling to be recognized by colleagues and peers in this way. And when I first got the email about this, I too was lost for words, but I've had a bit of a chance to recover. So, so I can say a couple of things. The most important thing I'd say is that I think I've been really, really lucky in my life. And when I came to Wales, there were several senior clinicians who supported me and invested in me, which and it was based on my ability, things like doing like ventilating patients inside wards in the old Llanelli General Hospital. Well, it was saving their lives. It was the right thing to do. But those people spoke about me and encouraged me in that way. And Ed Major, who's the critical care unit is named after in Swansea, was certainly the main one of those. And every role that I've had since then, I've had lots of help for. And to be awarded this, when I look at the program today and see all of the really senior and important people on the program, for me to be receiving this award in front of those individuals is just fantastic. I'd just like to finish by saying that the other bit of luck is that I've received this award for doing things that I really enjoy. Looking after patients I've really enjoyed, anesthetizing big cases I've really enjoyed, being a medical manager I've really enjoyed, and working in HIW, I have to say, is a real joy too. So thank you very much for everybody's support, and thank you to BAPIO for inviting me to today and for giving me this award. Thank you very much.
Our third and fourth awards are with a bit of a twist in the tail this time. These awards were already let out of the bag in the morning by our Deputy Minister. These awards are not for BAPIO members. These are for two highly respected individuals who have done an enormous amount of work for equality and diversity in Wales. They have been persistent, dogged, and they have not taken no for an answer. So for the first award, may I invite Judge Ray Singh, CBE, Chair of Race Council Cymru, to introduce our awardee and read her citation. Judge Ray.
Ask him. Please unmute.
Yeah, perfect.
Thank you, Diokumbar Dhanyabad. The person I'm about to introduce is well known to everyone. She needs no introduction. But some of you may not know her. For your benefit, I will invite Professor Uzo Iwobi, OBE, to come forward. Uzo, as I've said, does not need any introduction, but it gives me great pleasure to welcome her and to say a few words about her background. Uzo was born in Nigeria She was qualified there as a lawyer, as a barrister, and she came to Wales in 1993, having married before coming here. She followed me all around the country. She joined the Swansea Institute of Higher Education, where I was a governor, and she lectured there in law department for some 9 years or so. She followed me in the next step. I formed Indian Society for Southwest Wales. She has established African Community Center in the same area. Subsequently, having served as a CRE commissioner for a number of years, when I left, Uzo joined the CRE as a commissioner. And she joined the South Wales Police Force and then went on to the Home Office as a specialist advisor. She has recently been released by Race Council Cymru to join the Welsh government in advising a specialist advisor on equalities to the Deputy Minister Chief Whip. Race Council Cymru and BAPIO have many associations together, and Uzo has been a proactive promoter of that. As I have said, she has done a lot in the CRE, and after the CRE was demised, so was the race taken off the agenda. But the racism continued to expand. And she approached me and other former commissioners to set up Race Council Cymru. And this is where Race Council Cymru came into being. Uzo also is a professor at the University of Wales, Trinity St. David's. She serves on a number of boards of numerous voluntary organizations, including she did with the Red Cross and many others. She has worked tremendously hard, but she has not forgotten one thing, and that is her respecting her elders and the culture of respect. She worked extremely hard, begged, cajoled, and persuaded people to provide monies and formed elders association for the Windrush generation. There were many of them who were really elderly, and she managed to ensure that they visited places like Tilbury and Bristol and Liverpool for them to make their journeys back from when they started their journeys in this country. Many of them have moved on and passed away. Uzo does not stop. She is a defender of equality, and I have great pleasure on behalf of BAPIO to award this award to her. Uzo Iwobi, OBE.
So much. Thank you. Thank you, Chair Judge Singh. I am absolutely blown over. Honestly, I just literally cried because this award just came a few days after my brother-in-law died very suddenly to COVID-19. He was only 58, and it was just a traumatic time. But when that email came, I just thought, my goodness, in the middle of all this, thank you so much to Professor Kesh and Dr. Hasmukh Shah and all the BAPIO members. A special thank you to Judge Singh, who's always been a big icon to all of us. a special thank you to all the mentors. We stand on the shoulder of giants. And honestly, I say that all the big brothers and sisters are giants. I am so blessed to know you all. And I'm so humble that somebody thought about me, especially at the time that the award actually arrived. It was so powerful and uplifting. And I thank you all. I have to say that, throughout my life, I've had so many mentors, some in very senior leadership roles in Welsh government, people who've inspired me. I am so thankful to God that I was interviewed successfully to serve under the leadership of Jane Hart, MS. I have to say, what an inspirational leader. I've learned so much in that time. Working with Professor Kesha, who laid a wreath this year for in honor of the Indian people who died in the wars, it was such a joy and a privilege to work with him, to see his work and the risk assessment toolkit. We are all one, whether we're Africans, whether we're Indians. In unity, we stand with our white brothers and sisters in Wales and hold hands to battle this pandemic. I thank all the mentors who've ever mentored me. I think of Mutale, I think of Mark, I think of all the people. I think of Jane Hart, Julie Morgan, all of you who've even invested one kind word towards me. I thank you all. Judge Singh, you've been such an inspiration, lifting somebody who'd been browbeaten by racism and just making me keep on powering on. Thank you so much, BAPIO. I love you all. Thank you.
Now, I'd like to invite Julie Morgan, AM, the Deputy Minister for Health and Social Services, to invite the second awardee for the promotion of the equality and diversity. Julie Morgan.
Thank you very much. And it gives me a huge pleasure and honour to virtually present this award for equality and diversity to Usah Ladwa-Thomas. Now, Usah is a great friend of mine and we've worked together for many years, and it's wonderful to see you, Usah, here, even though it's virtual. It is an absolutely wonderful occasion, and it has been a privilege to work with Usah. Usah arrived in the UK as a Kenyan refugee. Her passion was to make a difference to those who had no voice, and I think that passion has driven her in all the things that she's done. Following leadership roles in Barnardo's in Wales and in England, where I got to know her very well, she helped set up the Academy Wales. She was called a boundary spanner for her work in linking government to the community, and her untiring efforts have culminated in the Welsh Government's recent diversity and inclusion strategy for public appointments in Wales. And Usah is one of the prime architects of the newly formed Race Equality Action Plan of the Welsh Government, which we've heard about today. And in addition to all the work that she's done here in Wales, determinedly, patiently, she works with a number of NGOs in India and Africa, inspiring a sustainable change in their thinking and capacity to deliver for the most disadvantaged of our population. Her passion for doing the right thing and her charm wins over everyone she connects with. So it's fantastic, Usah, to be here to present you with this award, which is to acknowledge all that you have done and that you've done so patiently and over such a long period. So I'm very pleased to present this award.
Julia, I think it was a surprise to be offered the award, but even nicer surprise to have it awarded by you, because we are good friends and I love you lots. We worked so hard together and shared some common paths together. But BAPIO, thank you ever so much for this, and especially Professor Steggall, because as I said, I didn't expect it. It's come from the blue. I'm not used to being given awards, so I was a bit shy about even accepting it. I felt that the front line should have it, but I was persuaded by my mentor and my soulmate, my brother, who said, you have to accept it. So Chandra, it's your fault that I'm standing up here. I think whenever you get an award, you want to rush and tell your parents, don't you? And I think it's with the blessings of your parents and your elders that you stand on these grounds. And as Uzo said, on the shoulders of giants. So I just want to start by thanking my parents who sacrificed such a lot to have us here. And that includes my eldest brother who sacrificed a lot, his own well-being and his life to bring us to the UK. And for me to be brought to Wales, which I now see as my home, to receive this award from my Asian roots is especially honoring, and I really, really thank you for that. I just wanted to say a bit about the work in Barbados, where Julie took the first course. That's why my bond with her goes back many, many years. I rang her out of the blue and said, can you do something about the Asian Women's Center we need? And Julie being Julie, she embraced it. And next thing I know, I was doing good work in Barbados with her. And Drew Reed, who was the director then, who with the senior management team made things happen that are just unbelievable. I was a new graduate. I was sort of saying things which people needed to do, and they just grabbed and ran with it. And I cut my teeth there really, because I learned everything there was to learn about equalities the really hard way. So thank you ever so much, Barbados, for that. In Welsh Government, I've had a couple of really good managers who made things happen, Harry Thomas and Claire Bennett, and two really excellent teams. Iana and the team there have been amazing in terms of getting some work done. But the leap of faith really came from people like Jane Hutt and from Mark Drakeford and Mangat. For some reason, they seem to believe in me and trust me with things and ask me to do things, which always sort of shocks me a bit, but I dive into it. I had really good mentors, like Uzo mentioned, they always influence, grow, they're gurus, they're senior people that you look up to. And I just need to mention a few because they are very special to me. Yvonne Cannon, Trish Reed, Dana Nagal, Singh, Susan Baker, my friend Uzo, Professor Bono, Professor Bellamy, and certainly last but not least, my younger brother, but my constant friend and somebody who picks me up every evening and puts me back together when I'm thinking I can't go on anymore. So I'm really, really appreciative of it. I think one of the things about this work is that you can't do it on your own. So it's not just the mentors and the people, but it's the communities. And ever since before I knew Julie, it's the lived experiences of people in their communities, and especially through the activists. And I repeatedly find that pattern in India or Africa, wherever I go, that there are people working with communities who are never recognized, they're than some heroes. And if it's okay, just today, I'd like to share this with them because they won't be able to come on a stage like this regularly, but I think they deserve it. So BAPIO, thank you for making it possible for me to share this with them. And I feel quite emotional. So Professor Steggall, thank you very much. And I'll get my back on you at some point. Thank you.
Thank you, Usha. Very kind words. Great work, Usha and Uzo both. Our last and final award, but not the least, is to a very old friend of BAPIO, somebody who associated with us when we were really a fledgling organization in Wales and has been steadfast in his support and encouragement. May I invite Jane Hutt, Deputy Minister and Chief Whip, to introduce our next awardee, please.
Well, thank you very much, Professor Keshav Steggall. I am delighted to present the BAPIO Award for International Leadership, and that award goes to Professor Martin Steggall, who's the Pro-Vice Chancellor for Research and Student Experience at the University of South Wales. Former Dean of the Faculty of Life Sciences and Education at the University of South Wales, he was previously Associate Dean, Director of Undergraduate Studies at City University of London. And all of us who know of his work and his career know that Martin is a visionary academic. who's led by example in promoting international leadership. He enthusiastically embraced BAPIO's idea of promoting leadership courses in India and has so far led 4 seminars benefiting hundreds of local Indian faculties. It was due to his efforts and collaboration that the BAPIO Training Academy was able to launch the 2+2 program, which is now recognized by the GMC for training Indian doctors in the UK, but also achieving GMC sponsoring body status for BAPIO. And these are huge achievements. He's successfully led the research collaboration between the University of South Wales and the Manipal University of India, with many more collaborations on the way. So we all, those of us who've got to know Martin over the years, recognize his commitment locally, nationally, and globally to his commitment to international leadership. We're proud that he is part of us here in Wales at the University of South Wales and such a supporter of BAPIO and all of the agenda and that we've been discussing here today at the BAPIO conference. Well done, Llongyfarchiadau, Professor Martin Steggall.
Thank you so much, Jane, and thank you to BAPIO. I'm really humbled to be given this award. It's difficult to describe, really. It's a real privilege and pleasure to work with BAPIO, with Keshav Steggall, with Haz Shah, with Dr. Mehta, and indeed Parag Singhal. And it's been amazing to be able to go out to India and do the leadership work, and it's been great doing the 2+2 work with Parag and indeed Keshav. I don't really feel I deserve it, but thank you so much. I'm not sure what else to say. It's really humbling, and I just thank you. Really enjoyed everything to do with BAPIO, and look forward to continuing as best I can in the future. So thank you very much, and thanks again, Jane, for that lovely introduction.
Thank you. I now invite Mr. Ashish Khurana, spinal surgeon, to propose a vote of thanks.
I'm sharing my screen. Can you see that?
Yes, we can, but we can only see your, currently we can see your desktop.
Yeah, I'll just make that into. Sorry, So we are to the end of a deeply engaging and hugely enthralling day. I must extend my deep gratitude to the First Minister, Professor Mark Drakeford, our Health Minister, Vaughan Gething, Deputy Minister, Mrs. Jane Hutt, and Right Honourable Alan Keynes and Stephen Doughty for their overview and update about the current status. And more importantly, for being with us. For being with us not only today, but throughout these tough times, for supporting our meeting and us as individuals, as key workers, and as members of the BME community in our fight against COVID. I would extend my sincere thanks to Honorable Dr. Harshvardhan, Cabinet Health Minister for India. His participation and an inspiring talk underlines the principle of global collaboration in our mutual fight against COVID. And of course, it reiterates the age-old Indian philosophy of Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. I would thank Her Excellency Gayatri Sarkumar for her participation and a captivating address. I would like to thank Professor Lord Ajay Kakkar for a great insight into a deeper analysis of causes of disparity in NHS and the wider society. And Professor Iqbal Singhal for a really stimulating talk on opportunities in advancing medical professionalism. While doctors continue to make life and death decisions, our own GMC has a crucial role in regulating us, indeed, in the right spirit. We had a thought-provoking discussion by Mr. Anthony Omo, Director of Fitness to Practice, GMC. We heard progress in various fronts in their talks by Dr. Andrew Goodall, Dr. Heather Payne, Dr. Frank Atherton, and Professor Push Mangat. I extend my sincere thanks to them. Education and learning evolves with discussions and mutual exchanges. The partnership was evident in the presentation itself. Thank you for your intriguing speech, Lieutenant General MD Venkatesh. Today, we established an MOU between BAPIO and the Cardiff and Vale University Health Board. I congratulate and thank all the team members involved in making this happen. We also launched the Welsh chapter of BINA, British Indian Nurses Association. We look forward to working closely with BINA and wish them success in their pursuits. Dr. Ramesh Mehta has been at the forefront of BAPIO for several years. I thank him for his unfaltering support to BAPIO Wales. I thank Professor Parag Singhal and Dr. J.S. Bamra, along with other panel members, for providing a fascinating panel discussion. I would like to thank the entire team of BAPIO Wales under the able leadership of Professor Keshav Singhal and Dr. Hasmukh Shah. Their untiring efforts inspire the entire team to keep going. I would also thank our technical director, Shasha Kiran Chemudipati, and the organizing team of Dr. Poonam Singhal, Dr. Murali Varma, Mr. Chandrataya, and Mr. Kotwal to help with Zoom planning and organizing. And of course, all the attendees without whom the meeting would not be a success that it was, and so many other valued contributors of the day that I may not have named. You are like the ITU nurse who hides behind the PPE and saves lives without being specifically named on the thank you card. And at last, and biggest of the all, I'm sure you would join me in thanking the bottom of our hearts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ashish. Thank you to all of you. I mean, it's been a long day. It's a Saturday. It's very good of you to contribute your whole Saturday. And I hope that the program was of interest and use. Goodbye.